Alrighty. Here comes Jimmy. I got my old-fashioned microphone on the desktop today. As you can see, it's a beauty from Shure. The microphone has a history of about 75 years. I have the instruction book from 1955 or something like that. I have to find it again. Anyway, it survived the move. Whoops. Anyway, let's talk a little bit of news here for a minute. Can you believe this bizarre Gabby Petito situation? I mean, that's just, I don't know, to me, it's infuriating. I mean, if I don't know, police protocols and all that kind of stuff. But if I was the father of Gabby and the police have this girl in their van and she's listening to the exchanges that she had with the, I guess it's Wyoming police. It's either Wyoming or Utah. I think it's Utah. And, me listening to it, and what do I know? I mean, it seems like she's, needs medication, and she hadn't taken her pills this morning. Because she wasn't making she wasn't making a lot of sense. Or I understood her, but there was something going on there. Now, I'm sure her father would have a better explanation of what's going on, but the thought that that my daughter was in the police car and they couldn't tell whether to bring him in or bring her in. I mean, really? You kidding me? She's 98 pounds, okay? And you get this much bigger fellow, about 23 years old, this Brian guy. And Brian Laundry, I hope he does his laundry. Oh, God. I am so... And now she's dead? Really? She's dead? She's laying in the rocks for 3 or 4 weeks. And this Brian guy comes home, drives home, which is like, it's not like going to Publix. I mean, we're talking 2,000 miles. So he drives her van back to his house, but there's no Gabby. It's just him. Well, what the hell happened to your fiance? I mean, wouldn't that be like, like question number one when he walks in the house and you got dad and mom, sitting on the couch watching whatever the hell they're watching, and he pops in after a 2,000-mile drive and there's no Gabby. And the obvious question is, hello, where's Gabriella? God damn it. And he had, how can he have no answer for the parents? Now, you may be handcuffed and saying anything to the police because he lured up right away, apparently. So his parents, probably made sure of that. And this guy's missing. He had to be at the house for some period of time because he dropped off the van. Now, whether he snuck out the back door and he's hiding in the weeds, or he went back to, wherever he pushed this girl over the cliff and decided to take a leap himself. So we're either going to find him in the bottom of, the rocks, as he does a Hail Mary, or he's hiding under the rocks. Yeah, this is like, oh my God, if I was Gabriella's father, I would just be incensed that these police had my daughter in their hands and they let her loose to this creep who killed her. Who else killed her? I mean, did she, the autopsy said, homicide. Well, that means murder. So she either got knocked over the head or probably strangled, or he pushed her over the cliff and she, hit the rocks. Or blunt force hit her in the back of the head with a big rock. Who the hell knows? Oh, God. This was a person he was engaged to, and, whether she needs her medicine or not, she's a cute little 22-year-old, I'm guessing on the age. I think he's 23. And I'm just looking through the news report here. Bizarre clue spotted in Gabby Petito's body cam footage. Yeah, I mean, I watched that. That body, oh, Jesus. Oh. And they were arguing about who's got what phone. There she is. Terrible. And she's now dead. And the police had her in their hands. So, you got the Keystone cops, watching out for her. At Brian's house in Podunk, Florida. Oh, God. No wonder her parents can't get on television. They're obviously a lot more disappointed than I am. I mean, I am like incensed with this police. I'm a law and order guy. But so you had the Keystone cops in frickin' Utah who let Laundrie loose to murder this young lady who's like 98 pounds soaking wet, and then you got another set of Keystone cops that let him loose, in Laundrie's house. I don't know, it's his house or the parents' house. I forget how that goes. I think it's anyway. It's her van and maybe his house, and the parents are living in his house. So it took the FBI a whole week before they got in there and and confiscated computers and all kinds of stuff to figure out how they may have been communicating. And the parents are apparently aiding and abetting their son because so they went out shopping. He was in the back seat with his head down, and when he got out of view with all the cameras, he disappeared. Well, how does the police let that happen? I mean, at 23 years old, how experienced can you be at murder? And so he disappears. Police have no idea where he is, or at least they're not broadcasting it. Oh, God. Ooh, I mean, I have a daughter, right? I just can't imagine Robin and her boyfriend having a disagreement in her van, in Robin's van, right? I'm throwing my daughter in the middle of this. I mean, you got to do that in order to understand this is not just television. This is, some little 22-year-old, girl. Oh, God. Oh, her parents have got to be climbing the walls. I don't know what I would do. And then the Utah police give Robin over to Laundrie so he can start slapping her around some more. And another, pair of, YouTubers, I don't know what they call them, noticed that this guy was slapping this girl all over the place, and got her back in the van. It's her van, right? And they drive up, and the cop says, "Slapping?" He said, "Yeah, slapping." And then they were running up and down the street, and then they got back in the van and drove away. So she needed to be somewhere else, and you got, a situation with a boy and a girl, and you see what the couple looks like. You kind of like have to side with Gabby, She's the weaker one, so to speak. Not trying to be a sexist, but I mean, God damn it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Anybody have a... Oh, don't let me hang out to dry here all by myself. But anyway, this is just disgusting. You can voice what you think, because there's probably... if you watch the YouTube, there's probably a comment. They have comments underneath the YouTube, so you can type away. You can type away now, actually. You don't have to wait till I finish this thing. But this has gone on all week. Weekend and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now they've finished a certain portion of the. There's lab results that have to come back. But that's just going to confirm what they already know. So they've classified it as a homicide. So, they haven't... I was talking to my own son when I was driving him to work this morning. They said, well, they have to do more tests. I said, Brennan, look, she is, blunt force trauma. Bam! She gets knocked over the head. And, down she goes, and she's, dead. Or strangulation. Grab her around the neck and squeeze until she stops screaming. And you're in the middle of frickin' nowhere, so no one's going to be able to hear the screaming. And if he's got any strength in his hands, she's gone. In about a minute and a half, that's the end of Gabriella. I was a lifeguard, so you only got a couple of minutes. Even if they stop breathing, the heart's still working. The heart is beating away. The blood isn't being oxygenated because the strangulation. She stops breathing, but she's not dead. She's just not breathing. People, no one seems to talk about that. And anyway, I saved, a number of people from the water, and when you get water in your throat, your windpipe, your lungs shut down. They stop, trying to oxygenate the alveoli in your lungs. So, that's an automatic system in your body. But you're not dead. You're still alive. But you're not breathing. So that's, you turn the body around. I'm doing the lifeguard thing. So, the sand is this way and the water's that way. So you lay them down so their feet are up and the head is lower than the feet. When you position the body on the beach. And then you get over top of the victim and you start doing the resuscitation. The best there is mouth to mouth. Hold the nose and breathe into the lungs. Breathe out first to try to pull out some water, because remember, water stops the breathing. So I always breathe in first, try to see if there's any fluid that'll come out, and then, breathe in and out and breathe in and out. And remember, the heart's beating. The heart is not stopped, when you have a drowning victim. The heart's beating away. The person dies in the couple, in like 3 or 4 minutes because the lungs aren't working, and therefore the heart is circulating blood around all these organs that are not properly oxygenated. So the kidneys, the liver, your brain, all these vital organs, eventually stop working. Well, up in Long Island where I was a lifeguard, and if it's an ocean situation, you got about 4 minutes because the water in the middle of August, in the hottest days of August, the water's like 69 degrees. So that's pretty cool. If you're, in the sun and everything, and, you want to cool yourself down, it doesn't take much to, what is this thing I got in the middle of my screen? There we go. I want to have Gabriella in front of everybody. Anyway, so when you're resuscitating somebody, mouth to mouth is a wonderful way to do it. And they should start choking pretty soon, within about 20 or 30 seconds of mouth to mouth. They'll go, and the seawater will come out and they'll start breathing on their own. And they'll look around and say, holy crap, what happened? Amazing. During the lifeguarding, our station, we saved like 15 or 20 people every weekend. Can you imagine? Oh, jeez. I mean, it is a nerve, lifeguarding is nerve-wracking because and particularly when you're out with the ocean thing, because the waves are going up and down and you don't really have, direct contact with all the heads, right? You got bodies, the bodies are below, chest, let's say, the water's up at chest level. So all you see is torsos of shoulders and heads all over, but they disappear with the waves, and they appear, then they disappear. So you kind of have to get an image of what it looks like when the wave is gone, and that's how my ring keeps watching. Oh boy. Anyway, so so if Gabriella was strangled, she, within 3 or 4 minutes, let's say 3 minutes, let's say, because if you're in hot Utah, if your body is hot, the oxygen circulation of the blood burns off the oxygen a lot faster if the body temperature is warm, as opposed to being chilled in the ocean. Or, when a person falls through ice, they can live 20 or 30 minutes, Anyway, so I never really thought about this. So how do you kill somebody? Well, bam, hit them over the head with a big rock or a hammer or something. You can stab them, right? That's a killer. You can shoot them. That'll kill somebody. Strangle them, right? So you got blunt force trauma, strangulation. Whether there's a ligature or not, meaning put a cloth around the neck and turn a thing, and that tightens up, with this kind of a little person, you get your hands around the neck and just squeeze as hard as you can for a couple of minutes, and she's probably a dead duck. It breaks my heart to think about it. But, she could have been stabbed, she could have been shot, hit over the head, right? One person could have pushed her off a cliff, right? Whoosh, down she goes, a couple of 100 feet, and that usually kills somebody. And they're out in the middle of nowhere. You got 40,000 acres in the Grand Tetons, public park. So the coroner has confirmed that the death was a homicide. So obviously there was something very visible. She had a hole in her because of a stab wound, where she got a big dent in her skull because of blunt force trauma. or you got all these there's there's a little bone in the throat that if you're strangled, it generally will break, and that's a sign of strangulation. But they're not really. My son was saying, well, they haven't really finished their report. I said, Brennan, they're waiting for some test results. Is she really A positive? With all the different. They got like 15 different things now on blood typing. Anyway, I said they obviously know what happened. They're calling it a homicide. So she's got a big hole in her chest where all these strangulation marks around the thing where she's got it, this guy crashed her skull with a heavy rock. That's one way. Anyway, so the detectives aren't probably, I don't know, they may not say for a while, what the cause of death was, because they don't want to tell the perpetrator everything that they know. The police are not into publishing information just so they can get on television. If anything, they're going to give you less information rather than more information. Anyway, so it's 11:30. I'm sorry I had to go on and on about this Gabriella Petito. What a name, huh? Petito. And she certainly was petite. And her boyfriend is number one suspect. It would be kind of hard to imagine that, someone else got in the middle of this domestic thing where he's, they've been slapping each other for, he's got bigger hands than she does, so she's going to lose the slapping match. And that's she did. He could have, slapped her real hard and broke her neck, right in the van, and she's like a dead duck. He pulls her out of the van, throws her, in the rocks. Hopefully no one finds her. So, anyway, that's the sad thing we have to deal with this week. Anyway, Marilyn's doing good at Seacoast Bank. She's at a training session up near Orlando at one of the Seacoast Bank, big conference rooms where they put on training. And, Marilyn's done all this stuff for 30 years, 25 years. So she, she's been a trainer, she's been a bank, she's gone through all the bank positions that there are. So she's a very seasoned experience. She's managed a whole lot of people, hired and fired, 940 people when First Union bought Hollywood Federal. So they had a deal then, you fire everybody. This is how they did the merger. And then you hire back who you want to hire back. And you just don't hire the ones you don't, the dead wood. So she had a team of people and went through 940 resumes and souls that worked at the bank, and hired back the ones they wanted and didn't hire the ones. They interviewed everybody. 940 interviews. And, they had personnel files on everybody, and they decided who they want to hire. They thought it was an easier thing to do than any other process. So I thought that was really quite amazing. Oops, let me unlock my laptop here. There we go. Ooh, I swept my fingers around on this. This is a local iPad over here. And of course you got the one that's part of the, but I do like this, which is oddball, but that's the way I do it. Anyway, so, we're at the middle of the week, and my housekeeper's coming, and she may already be here. so I need to get out of her way. She's running around. We got a couple of cats, so she's got this vacuum cleaner, and it puts the cats in a total tizzy. So every 2 weeks. Oh my God, we have a little black cat that just goes into shock for about a day and a half. She climbs under the covers in our bedroom. So you got this little mass of a cat under the, and of course the cat's breathing, so you see. She thinks, well, if I can't see them, they probably can't see me. But you got this lump in the bedding. Oh, jeez. So after our housekeeper leaves, I lift up the thing, and there's a little cat in there. I said, you can come out now, and she won't. And she knows all the sounds that we make, and she just has to make sure that monster with the big long nose, which is, the vacuum, is gone. When he gets, when he gets sucked up by the vacuum. And the other cats, we got 3 of them. So Caribou, she's, housekeeper calls her the fat one. She said, I really like the fat one. And then we have my boy cat, Kino. He ain't going anywhere. He's our lion cat, so he's a tough cookie. But Kenya, the little girl cat, they're all the same age within about a year. They just had their 10th. Caribou's 11, and the other 2 are 10, and the other 2 are brother and sister. So anyway, so they're getting ready to be terrorized. And make sure they have a lot of food and water, because they're going to be hiding for about 3 hours until she leaves. All right, well, listen. Whoop, there we go. Politics is going, my watch is going crazy with politics. Maybe I'll do a little politics on Friday, if you guys are interested. All right, so listen, you all have a great day. It's lunch hour coming up in about 20 minutes. And I'm going to go see if I can find out where the housekeeper is and see if I left the door unlocked. I've kind of closed myself off in here. All right, so we're going to end.